Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Projector Movement Podcast. We are so lucky to be joined by our in-house human design expert, Rebecca. Thank you for being here, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we are diving deep today into all things related to the emotional authority. So, if you are watching this, most likely that is you, an emotional projector, or someone that you know who is an emotional projector. And before we go into the content of this call, let's start off this podcast in projector style by getting into our bodies and disconnecting from where we were and where we have to go. And we'll do that simply by just taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, holding the breath, and releasing, sighing out the mouth. Doing that one more time, inhaling in through the nose, holding at the top, exhaling, maybe even giving the body a little shake, a little wiggle, releasing any energy that needs to be let go as we are so porous as projectors. Emotional projectors, too, just releasing any emotions that you've taken in to come back to your center. And as always, let's say welcome back to ourselves. I love those micro moments. Okay. Well, Rebecca, I have so many questions for you.
Mm.
First, let's just dive into the emotional authority. What is the basics? What is the emotional authority?
Mhm. Let's start with the emotional authority motto. So, for all emotional projectors, understanding or remembering this motto is like your go-to, which is there's no truth in the now, clarity comes over time.
I love that. There's no now. I'm gonna that one check mark. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, literally, that is the basis. Like, there's no truth in the now. Clarity comes over time. Your authority is designed to work over time. It's not designed for these screenshot moments of instant decisions. It's designed to sample over time. And once you've seen that full 360 degree and you go through your process, the recommendation is three times. We'll come to this, but once you go through these emotional waves three times, then you have your clarity, and that is in its complete own time. And that's different for every single emotional projector. It's not prescriptive as such.
So three times, that's new for me. You're supposed to do
Yes.
it three times.
Yeah, so there is kind of certain levels of experimentation that I help emotional projectors through, and the minimum I would say is sleep on it. 24 hours minimum sleep on the decision. And that's almost like, especially for emotional projectors that come to human design and aren't used to waiting and it feels really uncomfortable and they just want to kind of dip their toe in, sleep over on overnight. But the next minimum I'd say is 3 days. Wait
Okay.
until the end of the week. Like I'll get back to you by the end of the week or I'll make a decision by then. So it just allows you a little bit more time and it's still kind of socially acceptable to say, look, I'll let you know by the end of the week. Okay, fine. But the real advice is to wait for three cycles of your wave, and that's three yeses and three nos. So you can get that percentage clarity of, okay, I'm never going to be 100% certain, and that's completely correct for an emotional projector. But I'm looking for, okay, am I 50% one way or 60% the other way? And it's really about, for an emotional projector, you're never going to be 100% sure. So depending on where you are on your wave, it's either a yes or a no, but you're going to be wanting to live in a life that you're like 70% like wanting,
Right.
and then the 30% where you're just, okay, I need a rest today or whatever, right? So three cycles, three yeses, three nos, until you understand which side of the fence that you're on, whether
Mm,
you're more than 50% one way or the other way. And I use the words, am I feeling this or am I not feeling this?
okay.
And that's the kind of words that I would use because it's no words attached, no certainties, no reasons, no nothing like that. It's about feeling into it.
Now, I'm not an emotional authority, but I'm just imagining people and listening to this are like, and what if I don't have 24 hours or time for three yeses or nos? What then?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a very pressurized society. But the thing with projectors is we do strategy and then authority. So your strategy is to wait for the invitation. So when it involves someone else, you need to be deeply seen and recognized by that person. So whether it's a mentor or a partner that's inviting you into a new relationship or whatever it is, if they're truly seeing and recognizing you and truly inviting you into that relationship or that job or whatever it's going to be, the theory is that it would wait for you because that's specifically your process.
Mm.
And there's a beautiful story about a reflector. I know we're not speaking about that today, but reflectors who take 1 month minimum to decide. And one of the teachers that I know in human design, she's a reflector. She was making a house decision in the UK, and the UK housing market goes very, very fast. She told them, I've got to wait. I'm going to make a decision by the end of the month. And they waited. And it's just one analogy, isn't it? But there is a pressure on emotional projectors to make quick decisions. And it's just kind of affirmation here. If they're truly seeing you, truly recognizing you, there is this, we'll wait for as long as you need until you've made your decision.
I love that. I love it. It reminds me of the teaching of you teach people how to treat you.
Yes.
And it feels very true for emotional projectors that it's a deconditioning of we have this perceived pressure of the way the culture has bred us to bred people to be quick thinking and we have to do now, but that you can really teach people that you need time and those that don't honor that aren't your people.
Yeah.
And that may be part of your decision cycle to weed out the people that aren't gonna honor what you need.
Yeah. And part of this, when we look at the different types of projectors and projectors in general, we're here to guide, but emotional projectors are going to be here as very different guides than a splenic projector or a mental projector. Emotional projectors are here to guide through their emotional awareness, through that perspective that's built over time. But if you're not allowing your perspective to go over time, the genius of your guidance isn't there. It's just as simple as that. So, to get the most out of yourself, you're going to need to wait over time to get that full clarity in order to be that projector guide that you're intended to be. The mechanics are very different.
I love that. It's like your genius isn't there if you aren't giving yourself that time.
No, because imagine like if you're, I always say like imagine if I said like what's this and you're like it's a dot and I'm like okay just wait a bit longer and you're like oh wait it's a circle oh no wait it's a sphere and it has smell
Yeah.
and it has mass. An emotional projector is going to see all of that over time and that's where the genius comes from. I
Mm.
always say that they're kind of here and designed to understand the complexities in life on a real deep level. But if you're not honoring yourself and your complexities, if you're not honoring yourself and your perspective and how your perspective can have this complexity to it, then you're not going to be able to guide society through the complexity of society or that singular person. So we need you to do that first, to step into that, to enable everyone else to be able to get your guidance.
I love that. That's such a huge distinction, everyone. I hope that one
Yeah.
sunk in, is that that one hit me. Okay. So tell some emotional projectors something about themselves they may not know. What would you say is something unique to them that maybe is less known?
I mean, it's an interesting one because they're going to have different types of emotional projectors within that we know that. There's I guess a few things. So emotional projectors will feel different each morning, and you may not even know how you're feeling. You don't always have to actually label it even. It's just flavoring your perspective. Another big thing around decision making as an emotional projector is you're not designed to make emotionally charged decisions. Or,
Mm.
well, I'm feeling this way and I'm an emotional projector, so this is my decision. No, no one's designed to make emotionally charged decisions, which I think is an interesting kind of
Yeah.
nuance to that. People are like, well, I'm an emotional projector. Yes, but you're not designed for emotionally charged decisions is a big thing. But then, kind of deeper than just the authority, when we look at the mechanics of an emotional projector, which is what is, we're not just looking at the authority here, we're looking at what an emotional projector is. We have this emotional center, which means you are an energy projector, which not all projectors are. We're non-energy types, but all emotional projectors are energy projectors.
Mm,
And what's fascinating about that means that when you're in your high of your wave, you have more energy because it's a motor as well as an awareness. And when
mm,
you're low of your wave, you're going to feel more sluggish. You're going to feel, someone described it to me a bit like living in a submarine or being in space and everything's moving in slow motion. So, as an emotional projector, there's more to the mechanics there, which is fascinating to really wrap your mind around and to then be able to honor yourself kind of more. Does that
mhm.
make sense?
Totally,
Good.
totally. I love that. It's interesting. Some of the titles that Ra has used for the naming of things, some channels, emotional authority, but you're not supposed to be emotional in your authority. It's interesting. So really understanding that the nuance of the name is important. Uh,
Yes.
what are some challenges? I think you've been talking to them, but what would you highlight? For people who
Yeah.
are listening that have the emotional authority, what are the challenges that you see?
Yeah. There has to be time with the emotional projector to really process things. And society encourages such quick decisions. And we're here to apply authority to as much as we can. So I find that emotional projectors will struggle sometimes with identifying sometimes when the decision has been made quickly. For example, I always use a rough example like this. You could be in a bar and someone comes over to you like, "Oh, I'm going to chat this person up." And you're like, "No." But that no is still a decision. It's like an instant decision. This is just, an analogy and it doesn't have to apply to everyone. But an emotional projector is designed to almost, the words that came out of my last emotional projector group were play hard to get. And that's not a game and it's not to play hard to get, but it's this kind of just take your time on every single decision. So if someone asks you, "Oh, do you want to go on a date?" Let me think about it. I will get back to you. Wait for three yeses, three nos, and then get back to them. Even if it was 100% a no in the moment or 100% a yes in the moment, I'll get back to you is fantastic. But also, one of the challenges here is the emotional authority, not just about decisions, but it needs time to process and understand things. So
Mm,
whenever I sit with an emotional projector in a group or one-on-one, at the end there might be some questions, but I find the questions can come a week or two later once you've had time to really process and assimilate everything.
mhm.
So really trying to honor the fact that that's how your body needs to take things in and just take longer and just slow down with that. And that's perfect for an emotional projector.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like the challenge is just, especially living in this culture, is the slowing down process of what this authority needs, is getting out of that quick pace, instant gratification, needing to know now, trusting the wave, trusting the high, the low, the three yeses, the three nos, the cycle, allowing yourself to expand in time and not rushing a process would, in this day and age, I equate it to like watching paint dry. It could feel for somebody when you first start, but the thing I think that's so brilliant about authorities is that it's like they're foolproof when you start to follow them. They're built-in systems that lead us to success as projectors. When we follow the authority, it's the replacement of the brain. We don't have to think about things anymore. So there is a benefit if you can learn to wait out this cycle for you emotional authorities out there. Your life will be curate into a direction that you're going to be making the right choices for yourself and not landing into as much chaos. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Beautifully put.
Oh, thank you. Uh, So we are excited to be offering a training for emotional authorities, and I just wanted to let you talk a little bit about what it's like when you see a bunch of emotional authorities, projectors come together in a group training dynamic.
Yes. I tell you, when I hosted this group last time, it was fascinating, especially
Mm,
because, and it's no secret, I'm a mental projector, so I'm going to be almost like the alien in the room, the kind of intruder in the room, but luck, I was wondering how that was going to go, but I had very good feedback saying it was really nice having that kind of outer authority mirror from a mental projector. So that was good. But the feeling that was mirrored, and this is important to speak about, is the world seems very fast, but when you actually get emotional projectors together, the vibe changes entirely. everything is automatically slowed down. And that's not as in we're going to be speaking in slow motion. I don't know if I'm even capable of speaking in slow motion, but there is this kind of understanding from one another, and the questions that are put to each other are just very, very different. And the questions that people want answered as emotional projectors are very different than what mental projectors want answered or splenic projectors want answered. So when a group of emotional projectors come together in a training or a group such as this, it's like hitting the nail on the head about what that particular group need and getting the recognition that they need. It's very subtype specific. So it just becomes a very beautifully understanding container that is just perfect for what an emotional projector needs.
Mm,
Um, all the kind of groups that I run are very kind of conversational in the sense that yes, there are some questions posed and there are some experimentation going on, but the group also leads that conversation and learns from one another. I'm just the kind of facilitator in the space. So over the 4 weeks that we run this kind of group together, there'll be different perspectives, different angles looked at, and you can kind of circle back around when needed, take your time to process that stuff, um, and take what you need. And
mm,
there's also this kind of honoring of the emotional wave and something we spoke about in the previous group, which was just so beneficial, which when you're in your low of your wave as an emotional projector, you don't want to show up. And this was one of the biggest questions that I was asked in the intake forms from previous emotional projectors was, well, I can't show up in my lows. And there is such an honoring of show up in your lows because there's genius in that. And it's
mm,
just so beautiful to see. And I find so much with the emotional projector is so hard to explain with words. And as a mental projector, I try to put it into words and to structure it as my channel. But so much of the emotional projector group experience is the feeling, which I can't
mm,
do justice with words.
mm.
And I've had time to process it, and I'm just going to have to honor the fact that I can't do it justice because it's a feeling-based thing.
Totally,
So, yeah, the feeling is there.
totally. I can understand what you mean about that just in the sense of when I do work with just projectors together and being with projectors as a whole, there's a unique feeling. When you're with just projectors, I can't imagine just being with a one particular authority. That's probably even a whole different dynamic.
It's so potent. It's insanely
Yeah,
potent. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so yes, if you are an emotional authority and you are looking to really understand the ins and outs of how to make decisions in your life, it's one thing to know you're a projector. It's another thing to also understand how to work in your authority. That's such a specific part of this experiment. And we are offering this training, and we would love to have you be a part of it. Rebecca's going to go very in depth with your type, and you can really begin to understand one of the most misunderstood authorities, I think, is the emotional authority, because it is so unnatural to be in this waiting process and this cycle. And I've even learned myself, this three yeses and three no's cycle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you are ready to take that dive, we have the link below in the podcast to sign up, and we hope to see you there.
Yeah, and I would just add not just the decision making, but also within that kind of mechanical process of an emotional projector and understanding that subtype, it's going to be understanding yourself in a level that just knowing that you're a projector doesn't hit. It's like understanding how you're built, and it's just
Mm,
beautiful. It just adds more layers to that.
mm. Well said. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for being here. Thank you all for listening. We hope to see you again soon. Take care.
See you.